Well, hello there, Abundant Life Living community. It is I, Coach Tonya Bryant, your transformational coach. I'm also a licensed master social worker, and I work with women to really help them transform their lives through learning how to shift their mindset. Now, I started a new campaign. Well, actually, it's not a new campaign. It's more of I'm bringing it back. Let's say it that way. And so it's your Know Yourself, Love Thyself, Heal Thyself campaign. And this is really all about you knowing you, right? You can't really be successful unless you tap in. Well, let me rephrase that. Sure, you can be successful, right, without knowing who you are. However, there is a greater, what's the word that I'm looking for? A greater value of you knowing who you are, right? So that as you walk in success, it's so much sweeter understanding this is who I am, knowing who you are. So there are some people that and you know what, it all depends on what we think about success is, right? And success to me is fulfilling that thing which I am called to do, those things that I was created on this earth to complete, right? And so when you understand your strengths, you can be even more effective in that. Because again, we're talking about knowing thyself, loving thyself, healing thyself. We're in the phase one of that campaign of you knowing yourself. Who are you? Who are you? And one of the ways that you really begin to discover who you are is understanding your strengths. So today, this week, we're going to be identifying strengths, identifying the strengths that I possess. When I begin to understand just what strengths I possess, who I was, right? Who I was at my core, it caused a greater level of confidence to come forth in my life. And so I really want to focus in on this strengths discussion. I want us to begin to celebrate our strengths, right? Because we all have them. Sometimes we overlook them, but we all have them. And when you understand your strengths, you can be even that more successful, that much more effective, that much more fulfilled, knowing that I am walking out the very core, the very things that are in my core, those things that are in me, right? And so as I'm talking about, I want to pull up my notes here. So let's talk about what strengths are. And so strengths, let me make sure I have my phone on silent because it was just okay. Okay. So we're talking about identifying strengths. And so what are strengths? What are strengths? And so I was smart and let's talk about what strengths are. So strengths are natural patterns of thinking, feeling, and behaving that give you energy and help you to perform at your best. So they come natural to you. Some of these can be character strengths, like you're very empathetic, you're humorous, you're determined, or talents such as organizing, writing, problem solving. Those are things that we can talk about, that we can say our strengths, right? Your strengths often show up to help you lead, to help you comfort, to help you create, to help you connect, to help you solve problems. Understand that your strengths are not just talents, but they are traits that are inside of you that you excel in and that you absolutely enjoy. All right. So we're talking about knowing thyself. So what are those natural patterns? What are those natural things that you feel, that drives your behavior, that gives you energy, that helps you to perform, at your best? I can think, one example. So say that you're a peacemaker. You are the peacemaker when it comes to family drama, right? You're the one that gets in there and you bring up, you can cause peace. You can cause people to get back on track and get back in alignment. You can cause peace. That's a strength. You know, um, maybe you are able to organize events and not break a sweat. That's a strength. Maybe you give wise, like, counsel, wise advice. People are always coming to you because you have sage, um, wise insight and wisdom and advice that help people to navigate. Those are strengths. Again, there's those things that give you the energy, that help you to perform at your best, things that you love, that you like, that are not, don't even take effort. Those are strengths. And it's important for us to know those strengths, right? And so I want to talk a little bit about, we talked about what strengths are. Why do we need to really know what our strengths are? And so when we know what our strengths are, they can bring clarity in transition. So what do I mean? So life be lifing. We have all kinds of shifts that happen in our life, right? Our kids grow up, we change careers. Your strengths are those things that keep you rooted and grounded, right? Knowing your strengths can build confidence. There's nothing like feeling like I am making an impact. One of my strengths is I know, and I've said this before, I'm an anointed encourager. People get around me and I just can't help but to provide support. I can't help but to encourage. I can't help but to inspire, because that's it's in me. It's instinctive and I love it. I love helping people navigate. I love helping people see the good in them, see the strengths in them. That's just something that's a part. I mean, it gets me going. Like I get louder, I get really animated, and I brought my water in here. Animated and excited when I feel like I'm supporting people and helping them navigate. Right. That's my strength. That's one of my strengths. So when I'm doing that, there's a confidence that comes in me. Right. That or manifests. Knowing what I bring to the table, just it allows me to be able to stand up and not in a haughty way, but in a way that I'm in my element. I'm in my zone. I'm doing my thing, right? When you know your strengths, you can begin to really take control of your boundaries, right? You say yes to what fits your strengths and no to what drains you, right? When you know your strengths, you feel like you have a greater impact. Ever since I have gone back to school and gotten my degree in social work and practicing therapy, right? I feel like I feel like I'm in my zone. I feel like I'm doing the work. I think I've shared with you guys, Dr. Katie Cannon, she is no longer on the earth, but she would say, I must do the work that my soul must have. I must do the work that my soul must have. And when you are walking in your strength, there's something about a joy in a satisfaction and a fulfillment that comes because you know that you are in you're doing you're doing that darn thing, right? Right? You're able to show up when you're walking in your strength. You're able to show up in your true self, your true authentic self. And that is so powerful. And so that is why it's apparent for us to really begin to know what our strengths is. I want to ask you, when was the last time you felt completely in the zone? You felt energized, focused, and alive. What were you doing? Right? I want you to think about that. When was the last time you felt that you were in the zone? You were energized and focused, alive. What were you doing? I can just last week I was working with clients and feeling, I talk about in the zone. We were talking about various things and they were coming up with ideas and I just was like, yes, this is the work that I'm called to do. I was in the zone, right? And I want you to think about, when was that last time that you felt energized and focused and alive, right? And if it's been a while, I want you to go back to that and think about, because maybe you are not in alignment. Maybe you are not allowing your strengths to come forth the more. Your strengths, I want to say your strengths give you a sense of life, give you a sense of purpose and fulfillment, right? So think about that. When was the last time you felt completely in the zone? You were energized, you were focused, alive. Then think about, what were you doing? Those are things that can help you to begin to discover your strengths, right? And so even as we're talking about this, I want you to take just a second to reflect and write down 3 strengths. And this is something that you can, do once we're offline, or even as I'm talking. If you want to, if you have your journal, whatever, go ahead and write down 3 strengths and examples of when you used each one of them, right? So how I talked about my encouragement. I know I'm an encourager. I know I'm an encourager, right? I can people can be down and I can talk with them, and I can reframe and reshape things and see things that they can't see, and it causes them to be encouraged. It causes them to kind of start getting up out of that funk and realizing, hey, wait, I'm a lot stronger than what I give myself credit for, right? So write down 3 strengths and an example of when you used each one, because what we're doing is I'm helping you identify. If you are not clear on what your strengths are, I'm helping you to begin to identify, right? And if you are clear, but maybe you're not walking in it, this is going to help you. Again, we're phase 1, know thyself. I want to walk in this abundant life. I've got to get to know who I am, right? Who I am. Let's see. Okay. I wanted to, let's see, go back. Let's see. Okay, so I don't have that. But again, I want you to really think about those strengths. Again, your strengths are your natural patterns of thinking, feeling, and behaving that give you energy, that help you to perform at your best. In order for you to really live the fullness of life, you've got to know what your strengths are, right? Know what your strengths are. And even as I get ready to kind of wrap up, I want you, I kind of gave you, let's see. So let me do this. This is kind of your exercise that you can do now, or you can you can start it now, you can finish it. Um, okay. So again, write down three strengths and an example of when you use each one and how did it help you or someone else. Again, we're talking about you knowing yourself. We're in that phase one of know thyself, of our campaign, know thyself, love thyself, heal thyself. And so this knowing your strengths, identifying your strengths is helping you to know who you are. Many of us we're despondent, we're not happy because we're not knowing ourselves. We're not really knowing ourselves. We're not walking, or if we do like know our strengths, we've identified them, we're not walking in them. It took me aware of my strengths, but me going back to school to begin to hone in to study social work and study just kind of a humanity and what it is to help to advocate for individuals. These are things that I was doing somewhat when I was in my other field of academic advising, but me going back to school and getting my social work degree really just unlocked even more. And unlocked things inside of me that have always been there, but were somewhat dormant. So some of you may know what your strengths are, but you need to go back and get more education. You need to get in proper alignment so that your strengths can flow even the more. And so that it can cause a sense of joy, a sense of accomplishment, because you know yourself. You know yourself. And so again, your homework or your the work that I'd like for you to begin to do is to write down three strengths and an example of when you use each one. And I talked about what strengths are, and how did it help you or someone else. So that's the exercise. But let me give you just a quick reminder. Okay, we're talking about what is a strength. Okay, so a strength, they're your natural patterns of thinking, feeling, and behaving that give you energy and help you perform at your best. What are those things that you just love doing, that is almost effortless, that just comes natural, that just causes, when you start doing that work, it's like your whole disposition, your whole attitude, your whole mindset, your core, it's like something inside of you ignites. Those are your strengths. Those are your strengths. And then for you to really, like I said, to know yourself and the fullness of who you are, you have got to begin to really identify what those strengths are. I am Tonya LaShawn Bryant. I want to thank you so much for joining me for our talk, my dose of encouragement. We are focusing in on phase one of knowing thyself, right? Loving thyself. This is the campaign that I'm doing. Know thyself, love thyself, heal thyself. And so today we have been talking about we're in the phase one, knowing thyself, identifying your strengths, finding out what are those things that just come natural to me, right? What are the natural patterns of thinking and feeling and behaving that give me energy that I love doing? Those are your strengths. And so your assignment, if you will, is to write down three strengths and an example of when you used each one and how did it help you or someone else. Right? That's what we've been talking about. I'm here every Monday and Thursday. I want you to join me for Thursdays. I have labeled those. What have I labeled those? Affirmation Thursdays with Coach Tonya Bryant. So what'll happen is I am going to take our teaching from today, and so I will have affirmations that we will focus in on around identifying your strengths, for Thursday, because affirmations are powerful, powerful statements and tools that we use to help us begin to shift our mindset. So I want you to join me here on Thursday at 7:30 Mountainish, 7:30ish Mountain Standard Time for Affirmation Thursdays with Coach Tonya. Now, scrolling across the bottom of your screen is a free gift that I have for you, right? It is my Overcoming Limiting Beliefs ebook. You can go to bit.ly/limits 2024 to download it today. And so this book really helps you begin to tackle some of those things that are limiting you, right? You're not walking in your strengths. Why? Because you have some limiting beliefs about yourself that are hindering you from walking in those strengths. So go ahead and download that for free today. Go to bit.ly/limits 2024 to download your Overcoming Limits Belief ebook. Now, I've been talking about, and I should have pulled it up. I've been talking about this amazing campaign of Know Thyself, Love Thyself, Heal Thyself. And so I'm in the process of ordering some more shirts because I'm really embracing this idea of becoming whole. See, when you know yourself, love yourself, heal yourself, you can become whole. And so I want to give you an opportunity to purchase your Know Yourself, Love Yourself, Heal Thyself t-shirt today. You can go to bit.ly/wholeness24 to get your t-shirt today. So let me go there. And I'm going to pull up the sheet. And so let me share my screen. And I am going to, let me get all this. Oh, no, I want that one. Let me get the rest of this stuff off. All right, so you can see, and then actually, let me take myself off. Okay, so you can see here, Know Thyself, Love Thyself, Heal Thyself. And I have a multitude of colors. So I think I have the black one, and I've worn that. I'm going to eventually get all of them, and I think I want to order, I love the red one. I think I like the purple one, but I think I want green. I think I'm going to get green. My next one is going to be green. And so you can see here, now the green, it comes in extra small, small, medium, large, extra large, and 2X, right? The other ones go all the way up to 4X. All right. So again, you just go to BIT. It's scrolling across the bottom of your screen. bit.ly/wholeness 2024. What's great is the shirts are only $25. So get your Journey to Wholeness t-shirt, Know Thyself, Love Thyself, Heal Thyself t-shirt today. Again, go to bit.ly/wholeness 2024. All right, let me stop sharing. Again, I want to thank you all so much for joining me for our dose of encouragement, where we are on phase 1 of knowing thyself. And today we talked about identifying your strengths, or identifying strengths. So again, join me on Thursday at 7:30ish Mountain Standard Time, where we're going to be doing our Thursday. Let me pull it up. My Affirmation Thursdays with Coach Tonya Bryant right here. God bless you. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you on Thursday. Bye now.